For years, Belgium's national team carried so much pressure on their shoulders. The golden generation was filled with superstar players who regularly pushed Belgium to the top of the FIFA rankings, but they could never fully deliver the major trophy that everybody expected. That pressure followed the team for almost an entire decade. Now, Belgium feels very different. The country is entering a new era.
Doku, Meunier arriving! And Belgium have turned it around. Good for Belgium, 2-0. Tremendous football. Tielemans leaves it for Kevin De Bruyne. There's the goal. They spent this first half threatening. Because it continued his run back for Fofana. Beautifully worked Belgian goal.
After a disappointing and messy Euro 2024 campaign, head coach Domenico Tedesco left the job and Rudi Garcia was appointed in January of 2025. His arrival brought a new focus around rebuilding the culture of the squad while also giving opportunities to a new generation of exciting young players. The current team sits between two different generations. You have the legendary players who defined Belgian football over the last decade, like Kevin De Bruyne, who's on his last dance, while a new group of highly technical young stars are starting to take over. Players like Jeremy Doku.
Still with Jeremy Doku, hit it well, 3-0.
What makes this generation interesting is that they seem to carry less emotional baggage than the previous one. Previous Belgian squads were treated like they were destined to win before the tournament had even started. This group feels more unpredictable, younger, freer, and full of raw potential. Many of these players are breaking records and exploding onto the scene across Europe's biggest leagues, which has created a growing belief that Belgium could be building something special again. Belgian football changed forever during the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Finishing third was the greatest achievement of the country's modern era, and it felt like the peak of the famous golden generation, led by players like Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, and Romelu Lukaku. But after that tournament, the team slowly started losing momentum. Belgium crashed out in the group stage of the 2022 World Cup, and the 2024 Euros ended in another disappointing early exit in the round of 16. A lot of people began to feel that the golden generation had stayed together a little too long without properly refreshing the squad. I guess a lot of these players were carried by big juicy bum Eden Hazard. As the results declined, the problems behind the scenes became more visible. Tension started building within the squad, and public disagreements involving players like Thibaut Courtois and members of the coaching staff created a negative atmosphere around the national team. Belgium started looking emotionally exhausted. On the pitch, they were tactically predictable, and they were stuck between generations. That's why the arrival of Rudi Garcia felt so important. Garcia is an experienced coach with a strong history of working with young players. I mean, he's the one who helped develop a young Eden Hazard early in his career at Lille. His job with Belgium has been about bringing a fresh energy back into the team while modernizing the way they play. Under Garcia, Belgium went through a difficult 2026 World Cup qualifying campaign, yet they didn't lose a single match, finishing first in Group J. The team looked far more aggressive in their attack as well, scoring 29 goals in 8 games. The journey over the last few years has shown the transition that is happening in the squad. Euro 2024 started badly with a shocking 1-0 loss to Slovakia, but then Belgium recovered with a strong win over Romania. But that tournament ended in disappointment after losing to France in the round of 16. By the start of World Cup qualifying in 2025, the squad already looked so different. Younger players like Maxime de Kuiper, Jeremy Doku, and Malik Fofana started becoming far more important to the way Belgium played. Now, as I stated earlier, the squad is a blend of two different generations. Veterans like Courtois, De Bruyne, and Lukaku still provide leadership, experience, and stability in big moments. It's just now around them is a younger group that's bringing in far more speed and creativity to the team. Doku's rise at Manchester City and Mika Götze's breakout season at Ajax have completely changed the feeling around Belgium's attack. The team looks faster, more direct, and much harder to defend in transition. The older stars are there to guide the younger stars during difficult moments. So let's start with the Unks. Kevin De Bruyne is still the brains of this Belgian team. Even at this stage of his career, he remains one of the best creators in world football. During the 2026 previous World Cup qualifiers, he finished as Belgium's top goal scorer with 6 goals, often playing in a free role where he could move around the pitch and completely control the match. Now, he's had to deal with injuries at Napoli, but when he was healthy, he was still one of the best players out there, constantly creating chances and breaking defensive lines with his passing. When I have talked to Belgian fans, they told me that they feel Kevin De Bruyne's leadership is now equally as important as his abilities on the pitch, because he's the one helping the transition between the up-and-coming stars and the old established players who were on the national team before. Romelu Lukaku remains one of the most debated players in Belgian football, but he remains incredibly important to the team. He's a weird player because sometimes he has these horrible misses, but he also has more international goals than the likes of Diego Maradona.
I continue to feel that Lukaku isn't quite the polished finisher that Belgium needs if they are to go very deep. And these 2 goals it does wonders for his confidence.
As Belgium's all-time top goal scorer, his strength and physical presence are still at the center of the attack. His hold-up play is insane because he's built like a fridge, and that's perfect for what Rudi Garcia wants to see from his forward. Some fans still worry about his finishing in big moments, but most people agree Belgium does not really have another striker who can cause the same problems for defenders. Teams often need multiple defenders to deal with Lukaku, and that creates more space for Belgium's wingers and attacking midfielders. The return of Thibaut Courtois might be one of the biggest boosts that Belgium have received. After being left out during the Tedesco era, the Real Madrid goalkeeper is back with the national team and has immediately brought much more confidence to the back line. Belgium sometimes looks shaky at the back over the last few years, but Courtois gives this team a completely different level of security. His shot stopping is still world class. I mean, there is a genuine argument to be made that Courtois is the greatest goalkeeper ever, especially when you look at the amount of times that he has bailed out Real Madrid over the years. Now, even if he wasn't available, Sene Lammens is a very good backup. He's basically like baby Courtois. Then there are the explosive wingers and the playmakers, which are the parts of the team that Belgian fans are the most excited about. Jeremy Doku has developed into one of the most dangerous wide players in the Premier League. Before, especially early in his career, people saw Doku as a flashy dribbler, but somebody who didn't really have good output or a good end product. That has changed now. At Manchester City, he has become far more effective and smarter with the ball. He is now scoring the craziest goals after beating his man. His decision making has also tremendously improved. He's racking up assists by picking out his teammates when he reaches the touchline. No more dribbling into a crowd or looking like happy feet. He is getting much better at racking up goals and assists. He is now creating real end product after beating his defender instead of just having flashy moves. Doku averaged nearly 3 completed take-ons per game while attempting over 6, numbers that nobody else in Europe can really match. What makes him so dangerous is his ability to keep himself at full speed while dribbling. He is practically impossible to defend in 1v1 situations. You have to double him, and even then you're not safe. Just ask Liverpool.
Doku can attack Konate, in the position to shoot, scores! Jeremy Doku!
Then late in games, when defenses become tired and spaces open up, Doku becomes even more lethal. Then we have Mika Götze.
En Oldroep Jensen moeten hem verdedigen, maar slagen daar vooralsnog niet in. Gods. Wat een magnifieke treffer.
And this is the player that has generated the most amount of excitement from Belgian fans. The 20-year-old Ajax winger exploded during the 2025-2026 Eredivisie season, scoring 16 goals and providing 11 assists in only 29 matches. He also finished near the top of the league in both successful dribbles and chances created, showing just how complete his attacking game has become. I saw Belgian fans describing him as an elegant player because on the ball, he looks so calm and effortless. One of his biggest weapons is cutting inside onto his right foot and curling shots towards the goal. It's basically become a signature move. Cut inside, curl it in. In midfield, Belgium looked balanced again thanks to the partnership of Amadou Onana and Youri Tielemans. Amadou Onana, not Andre Onana, you better get his name right, has become the defensive foundation of this Belgian team. At Aston Villa, he's developed into one of the Premier League's most dominant midfielders physically. I mean, this guy is massive, covers a lot of ground, wins aerial battles constantly, and brings so much intensity out of possession. His defensive numbers have been outstanding, ranking near the very top among midfielders for tackles, duels, and aerial wins. In the Premier League alone, he recorded well over 100 tackles and hundreds of physical duels with an impressive success rate. More importantly, his presence gives Belgium stability. Because Onana does so much defensive work, players like De Bruyne and Doku can stay further up the pitch and focus on creating chances instead of constantly tracking back. Then you have Youri Tielemans, who brings the calmness and control alongside Onana. I remember people used to make fun of this this guy's speed and body type, saying he's slow and fat. But ever since that video came out that showed Tielemans' POV during a Premier League match, nobody has said a word, because they realized even the guys that look slow on TV are actually operating at the highest level that you can imagine in football. While Onana handles most of the defensive responsibilities, Tielemans helps dictate the rhythm of the game with his passing and positioning. His chemistry with Onana at Aston Villa has carried over naturally into the national team setup, giving Belgium a midfield partnership that already understands each other so well. Tielemans also adds another threat going forward because of his ability to strike the ball from distance.
Make something of it. And how about that for a hit from Rudi Tielemans?
And he's very good at delivering set pieces. That gives Belgium more variety in their attack and makes them harder to defend against, especially in tight tournament matches where one moment from outside the box or a set piece delivery can completely change a game. Like Tielemans can easily put in a cross and then Onana dunks over everybody. Belgium also has a really exciting group of underrated players that have come through the ranks that have completely changed the mood around the national team. Maxime de Kuiper has quickly become one of the most talked about young Belgian players, especially because the national team has struggled for years to properly solve the fullback position. After moving to Brighton in 2025 for around 20 million euros, he adapted to the Premier League surprisingly fast. In the 2025-2026 season, he got 5 goals and 5 assists across all competitions. Fans love his crossing ability, his calmness under pressure with the ball, and the quality he brings from set pieces. Zeno de Bast looks like the future leader of this Belgian national team backline. I mean, look at some of the goals he has scored at Sporting.
Fired through. Oh, what a strike! A zinger there from Zeno de Bast.
At Sporting, he has developed into a modern ball-playing center back who's extremely important in possession. Rudi Garcia's style depends heavily on defenders being comfortable building attacks from deep, and De Bast already looks very natural in that role. Some fans, from what I've seen online, still worry about how he handles very physical aerial battles, but on the ball, in terms of technical ability, he's incredibly advanced for his age. He constantly helped move the play forward with his intelligent passes, and of course, he's so comfortable on the ball even under pressure. He's shown a lot of flashes of creativity from deep areas, even getting assists himself, which gives Belgium another weapon during the build-up play. Romeo Lavia is the biggest wild card in the squad. Injuries have seriously slowed down this guy's development over the last few years, but whenever he's healthy, though it's a rare sight, people immediately remember why he's rated so highly. Many Belgian fans see him as the long-term controller that the national team desperately has needed. One of this guy's biggest strengths is how calm he is under pressure when he receives the ball. Even in difficult matches against the top Premier League sides, he always looks so comfortable receiving the ball in tight spaces, escaping pressure, while keeping the possession moving. The biggest question around him, can the poor guy even play a couple of games in a row? If he's able to, it's going to completely change the balance of Belgium's midfield. It will allow players like Tielemans to play further forward and attack more freely. Malik Fofana is another player to watch out for. Al Lioni put together a strong 2025-2026 campaign, and he showed that he can play in multiple attacking roles, either as a winger or more centrally behind a striker. Unlike Doku, who relies heavily on explosive dribbling and direct attacks, Fofana plays with a bit more control and movement between the lines. His speed is still a major weapon, but a lot of his value comes from his runs and connecting the attacks in dangerous areas. The biggest concern surrounding the Belgium team is their defense. For years, Belgium relied on experienced defenders like Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen to bring leadership and stability at the back. But now that era is done. Alderweireld has retired from international football, and Vertonghen is reaching the final stage of his career. A lot of Belgian fans naturally feel that experience in the back line has never been replaced. This puts a huge amount of pressure on players like Zeno de Bast and Wu Face, or as I like to call him, Belgian Sideshow Bob. Now, to really understand why the World Cup matters so much to Belgium, you have to look at their history in this tournament. Belgium has played in 14 World Cups, but there's 2 runs that stand above everything else: 1986 and 2018. Those were the moments when Belgium briefly became one of the most exciting football nations in the world. The 1986 World Cup in Mexico is still seen as the original great Belgian football story. Before the golden generation existed, this was the team that made the country believe it could compete with the world's biggest football nations. Coached by the legendary Guy Thys, Belgium entered the tournament without any expectation. The group stage was difficult, but they only advanced as one of the best third-place teams after losing to Mexico and narrowly beating Iraq. But once the knockout round started, everything changed. Belgium's round of 16 match against the Soviet Union was legendary. The match ended 4-3 after extra time. Soviet star Igor Belanov scored a hat-trick, but Belgium somehow survived and kept fighting back. That game also introduced the world to a young Enzo Scifo, who completely controlled the match with his intelligence and creativity.
It goes the enemy in, goes Schifo! Schifo scores!
At just 20 years old, he looked fearless on the biggest stage and ended up winning the tournament's Best Young Player award. In the quarterfinals against Spain, goalkeeper Jean-Marie Paf became a national hero during a penalty shootout with some of his huge saves. Belgium's run finally ended in the semi-finals against Diego Maradona's Argentina, but finishing 4th was the greatest achievement in Belgian football history at the time, and remained that way for over 30 years. Over the next few decades, Belgium had some strong teams and some great individual players, but they could never get past the round of 16 or the quarterfinals. Enzo Shifu continued to lead the team in the 1990s, while players like Michel Prudhomme and Marc Wilmo carried the country through later tournaments. But Belgium never truly looked like a team capable of winning the World Cup again until the rise of the Golden Generation. That brings us to Russia 2018, the tournament that defined modern Belgian football. Under Roberto Martinez, Belgium had some of the best attackers in the world. The squad was filled with world-class talents in every area of the pitch, like Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, Thibaut Courtois. Even the back line was stacked with Jan Vertonghen and Alderweireld. This was the tournament where everything finally seemed to come together. That round of 16 match against Japan became one of the most unforgettable matches in World Cup history. Belgium shockingly went down 2-0 with barely 20 minutes left and looked close to another painful collapse. Martinez responded by making some tactical changes, like bringing on the big man Marouane Fellaini and also bringing on Chadli to completely change the momentum of the match. Belgium fought back immediately. Jan Vertonghen scored with a looping header.
And back in. Oh, what a header! It's a tremendous goal from Vertonghen.
Fellaini powered in another goal.
Found room for the cross. Fellaini! Fabulous comeback from Belgium.
And suddenly the game was level. Then in the 94th minute, Belgium launched a perfect counterattack that went from one end of the pitch to the other in seconds. Courtois started the move, De Bruyne drove through the midfield, Lukaku brilliantly left the ball untouched, and Chadli finished the move to complete an incredible comeback victory.
Lukaku, and here's a winner! Oh, can you believe it?
Then came Brazil in the quarterfinals, a match that many Belgian fans see as the greatest performance in their country's history. Roberto Martinez made a bold tactical adjustment by moving KDB into a false 9 role and using Lukaku on the right side to attack Brazil's weaknesses in transition. The plan worked. Belgium scored twice, including a powerful strike from De Bruyne after one of Lukaku's famous driving runs through the midfield.
De Bruyne, 2-0! Belgium, what is going on here?
Brazil pushed hard late in the game, but Courtois produced one of the defining saves of the tournament by tipping Neymar's shot away in the final moments. Belgium won 2-1 and finally got the huge statement win that fans had been waiting for years to see.
Roberto Martinez, you said us before, this was the game they were born for, and they did it.
They did, and I think you saw it. They were incredible hearts out there.
Although the dream ended with a semi-final loss to the croissant lovers France, Belgium still finished 3rd after beating England in the playoff match. That bronze medal became the greatest achievement in Belgian football history and turned the 2018 squad into legends forever. Now, of course, this Belgium team isn't as talented as some of the previous generations, but in many ways, that could be a good thing. For the first time in years, they don't have to carry the pressure of being called the team that has to win. During the peak of the Golden Generation, every World Cup and Euros came with massive expectations. Fans and the media treated Belgium like a future champion before a ball had even been kicked, and that pressure slowly became a burden for the squad. Now things feel different. The Belgian team has far less noise around them, and that could actually become one of their biggest strengths. Now, they're not the only team looking to make some noise at the World Cup. To know everything possible about the 2026 World Cup, you have to watch this guide right here.